Joining us now is Chief Meteorologist with weatherbell.com, my man, Joe Bastardi. Joe, great to have you back on. So tell us about this approaching storm. What's expected to happen here?
Well, good news for the Bahamas. I don't think it's that big a deal as far as those places go, even though the center may go very close to its weak. Most of the heavy precipitation and higher winds will be off to the northeast, more of a nuisance situation to clean up operations. Now, when it gets north of the Bahamas, I think it is going to become a hurricane. And far to the east of the Florida coast, our company is much further east with the track, at least in relation to Florida. However, during next week, it may get blocked from going completely out to sea off the South Atlantic coast. And if that's to be the case, then as the week wears on, we may have a slow-moving hurricane sitting off the southeast coast trying to make up its mind whether it wants to come back toward the United States or not. But the good news for the Bahamas is that the bulk of the worst weather is going to miss the Bahamas. I won't say that it's going to be perfect weather. They're going to get some squalls, some thunderstorms, some heavy rains, maybe a couple of inches of rain out at Abaco and perhaps Grand Bahama, and wind gusts of 30, 40 miles an hour, but far short of what could happen, and of course what did happen with Dorian.
Do you expect this particular system to make landfall in the United States?
Well, I did yesterday. Right now, the models are all out to sea with it. The problem I have is I've seen patterns like this, Jean in 2004, Betsy 1965, for instance, where storms that looked like they were going to head out to sea got blocked by a big high-pressure system. And that's the same high-pressure system that can squeeze it and send it out. And with the upper air pattern the way it is, can get out in front of it and block it. So it starts going out and turns around and starts coming back. And it's also in that area notorious for slow-moving erratic storms. If you go back and look at hurricane tracks over the years, that area off the South Atlantic coast in September, even October, storms love to dance around there. So it may be maybe next week at this time, this is still in the charts. And the other problem is that the overall pattern is going to get active again. Quite active. I mean, I'm worried we see something try to develop in the western Gulf of Mexico Monday or Tuesday, just before making landfall in Texas. Tropical wave in the Atlantic looks like it's going to try to develop when it gets into the area that Dorian was in and this one was in. So I think the pattern's going to be active the rest of the way in. And I guess I'd be surprised if there weren't a couple more storms that did not threaten the United States. I'd be more surprised if there wasn't than if there was.
Yeah, let's talk about that. There are other storm systems dancing in the Atlantic right now. Any of them of concern to you, sir?
Well, the system of the far eastern Atlantic is not a concern until it gets to where these storms are going. The preseason forecast that we put on showed that storms were not going to be that strong around the islands, and they're not. It's when they get northwest. By the islands, I mean Hispaniola, Puerto Rico. And even though he said, well, Dorian was strong near Puerto Rico, not nearly as strong as what it was up in the Bahamas. So the problem we have this year is that in close to the United States, within 300, 400 miles, is where storms are favored to intensify. So you could get some tropical wave that doesn't look like anything for 8, 10 days, but it starts getting in closer to the United States, gets in the Gulf or the southeast coast or in the Bahamas like this one. This one just didn't appear. It's been out there tracking across the Atlantic. They get in closer, and then they try to develop. So that's unique to this particular season. But, of course, when they develop in close, you have to really, really take a look at them. Back in 2017, or even Florence, that got developed way, way away from the United States, so we can see it coming 10, 15 days away.
Yeah.
So that's the problem with the rest of the season, forecast headache for the rest of the season.
Okay, terrific. Joe, as always, sir, thank you so much and have a fantastic weekend, man.
Okay, you too. Thanks for having me on.
You're most